Hello, DevNation. Today I have the privilege of talking one-on-one with Evan Carmichael. We discuss how fear and failure has shaped our lives, what has been Evan's most embarrassing interview, as well as what question or idea he asks himself every morning before starting the day. For those of you guys who don't know, Evan Carmichael believes in entrepreneurs. Gary Vaynerchuk called him the DJ who inspires people and has even been called the modern-day Napoleon Hill. He now runs a YouTube channel for entrepreneurs with over 2 million subscribers and 300 million views. He's written 4 books and speaks globally. He wants to solve the world's biggest problem. People don't believe in themselves enough. Forbes named him one of the world's top 40 social marketing talents, and Inc. named him one of the 100 great leadership speakers and 25 social media keynote speakers you need to know. He has a giant Doritos bag in front of him all day long to remind him that he's stronger than the Doritos. Toronto is his home. He's a husband, father, TSM fan, and Timo main. This is Evan Carmichael. So originally I wanted to discuss topics of the book, right? You know, who, why, when, or who, you know it there. But then you went ahead and asked I want you to go ahead and ask something that I personally don't know. So I was like, okay, well, that kind of defeated everything I wanted to talk about. So I went ahead and read your book again, started studying a lot of your different interviews and things like that. And then I also started reading another book because I got a lot of inspiration from books. John C. Maxwell's Good Leaders Ask Great Questions, and trying to get some sort of inspiration.
So we're waiting for your great question.
So from there, I was like, okay, we could talk about fear because I guess, as you mentioned earlier, mentioned something you're embarrassed about. So I'm pretty fearful right now of doing one-on-one interviews with people. So I was like, I got to do an interview. Like I have to, like, that's it. Like I got to jump into it, embrace it. So from there, I wanted to start with how has fear and failure shaped your life?
Well, let's break it down. Like talk to me and your audience about how this interview even happened. About this interview, like how long did you want to have me on your channel before you reached
out? Since I got your book, I think in November.
Okay, that's actually not that bad. I mean,
it's not, yeah.
Talking about fear and a lot of people, it's like a year later or 5 years later or something that they had the idea, but then so you acted on it pretty quickly. And then what? Then at the beginning, I said no, right? Didn't you kind of like join me on the live stream? What happened?
Yeah, so you have your live stream gaming on Evan Carmichael Gaming. And I was like, hey, I read your book. I would really love to just talk about the ideas in the book and, try and share that with other people, share with the audience. And you were like, oh, well, I'm really busy right now. Maybe try it during the new year. Because I asked you, of course, like mid-December, because I was kind of waiting, like, I don't know if to ask. So it took me like 2 weeks to build up the courage to even ask in the live gaming thing. But I was like, just ask, let's do what's happening. It says no. Okay, fine. And then you said maybe. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll take it. Like, I get it. You're busy. You talk to so many different great people. So I was like, I'd be honored. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go again. And then I was like, January 1st came and I was like, oh, let me ask. I'm like, no, let me wait. I know, still coming out of the new year. And so I think I waited like a week after the new year to kind of, let people get back into the swing of things. And then I asked again, hey, would you be able to come and do an interview? And originally when I asked, I thought we were going to be talking about the book. So then when I found out, no, talk about questions that I just want to know about from you, I was like, oh, crap. Like, that completely blew everything I wanted to talk about. So this last week, I've just been like reading and studying and like watching a lot of your interview videos. Like, okay, like just be calm, we're good.
So listen, that's a great lesson in overcoming fear, because the way through fear is through. You do it.
Yeah.
And so now the job is, first off, I mean, congrats. You're already way ahead of, how old are you right now?
22.
I mean, me at 22, I wouldn't do this. I mean, I'd be terrified out of my mind. So, I still get nervous. I had Tony Robbins on.
Yeah, I saw that. I was going to mention,
I was super nervous going in. And like, listen, I've already had Tony on my channel. We've already hung out backstage at his, events. So not that like we're best friends or anything, but I already know him. And I was still nervous going into it. And I'm still like before the interview pacing back and forth in my office.
Oh, yeah.
I got to get the intro down. I got to get my first question down. What are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? Still super nervous. So and I'm 40, right? Me at 22, it would have been a train wreck. So congrats. I mean, you're already doing it. The next step is to cut the gaps. So you had 2 gaps. The first gap was 2 weeks of you thinking about having me on the show to then you asking. You got to shrink that gap as soon as possible. Like you want that to be in the moment. You get the idea, you do something. You get the idea, you do something. The second gap was Jan 1. You should have just messaged on Jan 1. If I don't know, was I live on Jan 1? I was, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think
yeah, I was live. We went all the way through. And actually that was one of my, like, almost nobody showed up to that one.
Oh.
So if you came and you said love, it's like, hey, you said New Year. I know it might be a little aggressive, but I'd love to have you on. It's Jan 1, so I'm asking again. You know.
Sure. Okay.
Now it's only a week, so it's not something to beat yourself up over. But that's the gap that most people have, is that they just wait and they wait and they wait. For you, it was only 3 weeks total. For some people, that's 3 years or 3 decades. But it's still the idea that how do we shrink that gap as much as possible, recognizing that the fear doesn't go away until you do it. Like the very first time I had Tony Robbins on, okay? I think you relate to this. I was so nervous. I was so scared. I was preparing for weeks. You know, it's like, oh my God, Tony's on. I was watching his other interviews. I'm trying to ask good questions. I don't want to offend him or piss him off.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, especially when you don't know them. It's like,
I knew his team, but I didn't know him. And I just didn't want it to be, even though knowing, like, are you really going to, like, you're not going to piss him off? Like, logically, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right. There'd be very few things you could say here that would actually piss me off. Right. But I got up to the day, and now as we get closer to the day, I'm actually secretly I hope they cancel. Like, you know, I'm busy. I'm not prepared. He should be doing other things. Like, I hope they cancel. But like, okay, they're not going to cancel. So we go, and I'm getting ready. I'm getting, you know, I'm so scared. About a couple hours before the thing, they write the cancel.
Oh.
They say, super sorry, Evan. Tony's got a last minute emergency. He's got to go. He's got to fly out to, I mean, they didn't say what it was, but we can't do it right now. Let's find another time. And then I felt worse, you know, like you're kind of hoping sometimes that they would cancel, like they let you off the hook. But then, man, I just did all this prep work. I just did all this research. I just did all this like practicing, and now it's not happening. It took 2 more years before he came on my channel.
Wow.
It took 2 years of following up and working with his team and all this stuff. And it's not them. It's one, Tony doesn't do a lot of interviews. And 2, I had to prove myself and show, you know, I mean, I wasn't top of his list compared to CNN and wherever else, Oprah and all the other stuff he was doing. Right. So when they actually do cancel, if sometimes, you know, if that happens, you just end up feeling worse. And so the way through the fear then just comes back the next time you go into the interview. So the way through is through, like you do it. By waiting 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 3 years, it just doesn't let the fear go away. You have to just jump into it and teach yourself that you're the kind of person who does scary things. So I love it. I mean, you did it. It only took you 3 weeks of delay time, which is way ahead of what I would be at 22 for sure. And the path through future fears are, as soon as you can catch it, to then, just do something about it.
Okay.
Like, what's the worst thing that happens?
I guess I was kind of apprehensive since it's like someone else. Like, I know if I have an idea and it's just me, I'll do it. And then worst that happens, I fail. But if it's someone else, I feel a little like, oh, I don't want to like be too pushy and then they like block me or something. Like, oh no.
Yeah, but what's the worst that's going to happen, right? Like the worst that happens, you come on my live stream and I say, dude, I hate you. Never talk to me again. I mean,
that is technically worse.
And then it's like, man, that Evan Carmichael is a big jerk. Forget him. I'm going to go and these other people, right? But that never happens. Nobody would say that. And if they did, they were just in a really bad mood that day, and probably won't remember that it was you anyway, right? So yeah, just leaning in, just starting it. The next idea that you get, this isn't just a you thing. This is everybody. People, I like to say, you're not afraid to fail. You're afraid to fail in front of somebody else. If it's just you, who cares? You'll do it. Yeah. But when it's somebody else, all the fears come in of disappointing them, letting them down, being stupid, wasting their time.
Yes.
You know, offending them. You know, like if I leave this, think, oh man, that guy is like such a waste of time. You know, right? Like that. If anybody even remotely thought that about me, it's like, oh my God, I feel so bad, right? But you have to risk failure, even though it's a tiny chance of it actually happening. You have to risk the failure because otherwise you never get the upside.
Okay, makes sense.
Like this could have happened earlier.
Yeah.
Now again, you didn't wait that long. It was only 3 weeks, but for other people, I've asked that question to other people on their shows, and when I say yes to people, it's mostly off of a vibe. For this, I didn't ask how many subs do you have, or I don't even know where this is going. Is this YouTube? Is this a podcast? Like, I don't even know, right? I don't look at the numbers or really care too much about that. It's more like, do I like this person? And the fact that you came to the live when you were helping the community and you're adding, positivity, and then you asked, and I said no, and then you came back in January and you asked again, reminded me, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you know what? I like this guy. So yes, uh, that stuff is really, really, really important. Um, when I ask other people on their shows, how long did you wait? How long do you think about having me on? A lot of people say, oh, I don't know, about 6 months, a year. It's like, I would have said yes 6 months ago. And it's like, and you realize, oh my gosh, I just wasted 6 months of time. And that's not to make them feel guilty. It's more that the next time it comes up,
Just chase it.
just do it.
Yeah.
And you get a yes, or you get a no, or they ignore you, or they don't. Most of the time, they don't even see it.
Okay. Sure.
It's just hard to get in front of some of these people. Um, so yeah, just do it.
Okay. Then I do want to ask, since we're also talking about fear, what was for you the most embarrassing interview you've ever had with, I guess, an interviewer or interviewee?
Most embarrassing moment I've had?
Yeah, just in an interview.
In an interview? Most embarrassing moment I've had in an interview. I did one last week in my undershirt.
Oh,
that was pretty embarrassing. Yes. That was last week. So here's the thing. I love leaning into those moments, right? Right after Tony Robbins. Okay. So I guess it's a week and a half ago. Right after Tony Robbins, I do the interview, and I was so nervous going into it that I'm wearing these, a thick kind of hoodie, that I was sweating all through like the Tony interview. Like, oh my God, more in the lead up, but after I'm so hot, like, oh, I can't breathe. I mean, yes, we did it, but I'm sweating buckets. And so I take off my shirt to cool off, but I have 5 minutes until my next show with somebody else where I'm being interviewed. And so I get on and I forget to put my hoodie back on. So I'm in my undershirt, and this is what I want to train you and other people. The immediate voice in my head is, oh my God, look at myself. Like we started recording, my camera comes on, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. But then right away, it's like, no, I'm going to do this. As opposed to, the guy would have been fine to say, hey, oh my God, I'm sorry. Can I just put my hoodie on? I'm sure he's going to say yes. Right. But I want to lean into that discomfort. And so I did the whole interview in my undershirt just because.
Nice.
Just because. Now this guy, I mean, hopefully this guy gets a unique interview. It's different than everybody else. And so that like, it's constantly trying to lean into those moments, whether it's on camera or not, that I'm afraid to do this. What am I afraid of? I'm afraid of being judged, right? Like, I could be in my undershirt all day, but I don't want to be in my undershirt in front of other people, right? And so because of that fear, I don't want that fear to own me. So I have to step into it. And now I could do it again if I needed to, right? It's not an expression of me, right? Like, I don't want to walk around all day in my undershirt. It's an undershirt for a reason, but I could do it if I wanted to. And I don't want that fear to control me. And I think a lot of people don't do things because of the fear. They don't post to Instagram because of how it might be judged. They don't post to YouTube because of how people might look at them. They don't ask for that interview because they might get a no, right? So every time I feel that fear or potential embarrassment, then I want to step in and do it. And worst case, it becomes a great story.
That's true.
That you
embrace
use
the fear.
Yeah, like even if you came on here and said at the start you were super nervous, right before like we pressed record, and like, hey, did you just go for a run or something? Like, no, I'm just super nervous. Right? Like I would start recording, and then even if you just vomited all over yourself, and then just ask some questions, I think that's the greatest interview of all time. Right? And then you can look back. It's like the time I vomited on camera with Evan Carmichael. Right? I think it's fantastic. Right? Where most people would then be horrified.
Delete it.
Definitely never post that. And then try to do a round two. Like if you vomited everywhere, and then, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like what would happen? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so nervous. I don't know what's happening. Can we reschedule? I say, dude, keep going. Like clean up, don't clean up, whatever. Just ask me one question. And you might say, okay, we do this again. Like I'll do this again. I'll do round two with you. If you post round one. Like you got to post the vomit and the one question. because that's such a great, it's a
part
great
of the journey. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't see the journey when you're in the journey. You feel like this sucks and I can't post this. I'm going to disappoint people and people are going to laugh at me. Once you're past it, then you can look back and say, oh man, remember that time I vomited with Evan Carmichael on my channel? That was crazy, right? We don't have the perspective. We're too caught up in the moment of the fear. So that's the job, is to try to catch it. It's to try to catch yourself and say, no, even if this goes sideways, it's part of my journey that I'll be able to share with other people.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, and that's kind of what inspired me to do the 100-day challenge. I was like, man, I heard Zan talking about it, and then
Let's go.
Patchy mentioned it. So I was like, you know what? Like, everyone else is dealing with this fear of talking to the camera and speaking from the camera and recording and posting it. So I was like, I'm just gonna do 100 videos, try to do every day. Patchy and I agreed 6 days, but I'm trying to actually do every single day, and just whatever happens, and so but it's been fun actually. So
I was speaking on stage in Puerto Rico at Brendan Burchard's private mastermind, and you have to pay 30 to 50K to be in this group. And so everybody in the group is millionaires, multimillionaires, and Brendan asked me to come on and teach. So I had an hour and something to go on and teach, and there were no slides, there's no PowerPoint. They were using a flip chart, like a old school like paper, and I had never used a flip chart in a presentation. I just had never done it, but they were only using flip charts. And so like, okay, well, let's do it. And I get on stage and I realize I don't even know where to stand, because everywhere I'm standing, I feel like I'm blocking somebody. The first markers that I'm using don't open. Like, and then I'm panicking, right? Like this is a high-end group. I'm now like making a fool of myself on stage, super nervous. And I just explain it's like, I don't know how Brendan and Dean do this. And everybody started laughing. And then I kind of hid behind the thing and lent into it. And at the end of it, I'd spoken once before with Brendan on stage. At the end of it, it's like, what you just did was the best speech I've ever seen you do. Like, it was so much better than the other one. Lean into that playfulness more. And I'm not that playful a guy, I'm not the entertaining, super funny guy. I was just leaning into how I was feeling. And instead of trying to cover it up and make it this mask, it was more, okay, this is what I'm struggling with, guys. Here we go. And I'm going to beat this flip chart and figure out how to make it work.
Nice. Okay, cool. So then these are more questions that I had from the John Maxwell's book.
Okay.
So what questions do you tend to ask yourself every day? Or if there's just one question, what do you ask yourself?
I think the most important one is, what's my intention for the day? So the first thing that I do is I wake up and ask, what's my intention for today? What is today? So we're recording this on a Thursday. Thursday is my public facing day. That's when I put my extrovert hat on and I'm doing interviews and group meetings. And we had our movement makers this morning.
Yeah. That's great.
And then I had a podcast. Now I'm on your show. And then I'm going to have to do it's just all day long. It's going to be interviews and podcasts and shows. And yesterday was my project day, and I just have the whole day open, do whatever I want. And Tuesday was my YouTube day, and tomorrow's my CEO day. And when I'm in it, I'm not thinking about what's next. Like today, all I care about is your show and what I'm doing right now. And then my next interview, I'm going to think about their show. What am I doing tomorrow? I don't know. I mean, I know it's CEO day, but I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing tomorrow until I get to tomorrow. So I use the morning as a reset to say, oh, what am I doing today? Oh, today's Thursday. Okay. Thursday. I wake up like I have no idea what I'm doing.
Okay.
It's like I wake up like, what day is today? What am I supposed to be working on? It's not like I wake up and say, I'm ready. It's Thursday. Let's go, fam. Come on. Right. Like nobody wakes up like that. And so I wake up and I'm, I don't know what I'm doing. And I look at the calendar and I look at what I'm doing for the day. So who am I having on? Oh, I'm going to be on a financial developer. Oh yeah. I love that guy. He was on my YouTube live stream. Today's Movement Makers Day. Awesome. Oh, and I'm doing this stuff coming up. Great. And I just want to get myself ready. What's my intention for today? I want to try to bring the best for all the people that I'm trying to show up for. My intention is to try to be my best for you here today, for every other, interview I'm doing, for Movement Makers this morning. It's my intention. Maybe I don't hit it. Maybe you walk away and say, Evan, man, that sucked. That was the worst interview I've ever seen you do. Awesome. It's like, it was still my intention to show up. right?
Yeah.
Because when you're thinking about something else, if I'm here talking to you and I'm thinking about what I'm doing this weekend,
Yeah. It's not the
I'm not
full.
here for you. I'm not
Yeah.
creating. I think it's disingenuous to the intention
Yeah.
here. So in the morning, what's my intention for the day? And I'll look at my calendar, and I think your calendar should be a reflection of your goals,
Okay.
right? Like if you want to accomplish your goals,
Yeah.
there's
Make a
habits
calendar.
that have to
Yes.
happen.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just an idea. If you don't do anything, right? If you just, I have all
Mm-hmm.
these ideas of who I want to interview. If you're never reaching out, it's never going to happen. So in your
True.
calendar has to be actions that
Yeah.
will help you accomplish your goals.
Okay.
So that's what's in my calendar. And if you look at my Thursday calendar, it's just jammed. And some of them I know, like readers, the insiders group for my readers group or the movement makers. And then some of them, I didn't know we had this book today. Like before today, I didn't know it was today. I knew
Mm-hmm.
we were going to do it at some
Yeah.
point, but I didn't know it was today. And I look
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, we're doing it today. Awesome. Okay, cool. I know what we're going to talk about.
Sure.
And that just sets my intention for the day. I'm not thinking about my YouTube channel. I'm not thinking about my other projects. I'm not thinking about the weekend. I'm just thinking about showing up for the people that I've committed to for the day. And I do that every day. So tomorrow will be something else. What's my intention for today?
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
What's your question that you ask yourself every day?
I think it was it Benjamin Franklin? It was like I wake up and I just ask like, what good can I do today? It's like, what is like something good that I can just try and do, even if it's just one thing, right? Because I mean, so I'm, like starting out, you don't have a whole team, editing for you, doing
Yeah.
any that kind of stuff for you. So
Yeah.
I'm doing, this. I'm also doing school almost full time, and then I'm working full time. So it's like it's a lot of things to manage. So there's some days I know where I'm not gonna be able to do more than one thing. So I just ask myself, what's a good act I can do today, and if
Yeah.
I can do more, I can do more, and that's great.
I love it, dude. I mean, anything that helps bring intention and perspective, I think is super valuable, right?
Okay.
What's one good thing I can do today? What's my intention for the day? What can I do to scare myself today? Right? Like any of that is great because it gives you
Yeah.
intention and perspective. Because most people wake up like an accident and then just fall into their day, load their phone, and start responding to other people's emergencies and plans for their life. That's most people.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, have you ever read the 5 a.m. Club? I read it
Robin Sharma.
recently.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I kind of took from that is like to have like an hour to yourself. And so like something I've actually recently started doing is I'll put my phone on airplane mode. So when I go to sleep. So when I wake up, it's just I have about an hour or two to myself, like you said, to reflect, to plan out the day. Okay, today are my, like as you say, intentions of the day. And I found that that really helps. Like not even get notifications from social media or anything like that. Like just okay, I'm here, I'm present, be in the present, and kind of focus on the day. So that's cool. Okay, nice. Um, so then another question: how do you make your team better? Like, how do you like to go ahead and try and improve your team day to
Yeah,
day
I
or
think it's
weekly?
it's caring about them as people,
Mm,
wanting them to win as humans more than you want them to win with you. I want the people on my team to win as people more than I want them to win with me. Now, quite often it's a similar path. It's like, hey, you want to do this, your best path is to stay with me and I'll help you get there. But it may mean that they have to leave and go do something else, right?
yeah,
Like Zan, if you watch our live stream, Zan is my co-host.
yeah,
Um, I want Zan to win
mm-hmm,
more than I want him to win with me. And that may mean he has to jump off at some point and not be my co-host on this stream.
mm-hmm,
If I ever felt like me being with Zane on the stream wasn't in his best interest, I would kick him out. I would kick him out. It's like, Dan, I love you. You can't be here anymore. You have to go do that thing. I'm not going to let you stay here. You have to go off and do that thing. It's even though he's bringing so much value to me, it's actually holding him back. If I don't feel that way. I think it's great for him. But if I did, I push him away towards the thing that he should be doing. And when you do that, most people only think, what can this person do for me? When you think, what does this person need and how can I help them? Often, again, there's parallel paths. But at some point, some people may have to divert and go do something else. Maybe somebody's with you for life. Maybe somebody's with you for 10 years. Maybe somebody's with you for 10 months or 10 hours and they have to go off and do their thing. But while we're together, I just want you to win as a human. And when people feel that, you get their, not just their brain, but you get their heart and their soul. Like
trust.
Like they're pulling for you. They want you. I do every Sunday morning. I do a call with somebody on my team. It's a coffee. Like I wake up, I have my coffee, and I chat with somebody on my team.
Nice.
And we don't talk about work for the most part because I don't even know what they're doing. Right? We've got 30 something people on my team. My wife does all the hiring. Some people have been working for me for a couple months and I haven't met them yet. And this might be our first call. And I don't really know what they're doing day to day. Like I know generally what they're doing, but I'm not managing them. I don't know their specifics. If somebody's doing thumbnail design for me, for example, I know they're doing thumbnail design, but I don't know which ones they're working on and what needs to be improved and how their training is going because I'm not directly managing them.
Okay.
But I still got on the call to ask, how you doing? Like, hey, how's COVID where you are right now? How are you liking the company? How are you liking your manager? How are we? What are you trying to? What did you go to school for? And we just chat. And the woman I spoke to on last Sunday, then messaged me is like, "Thank you so much. I'm crying. My heart is so full because no boss of mine has ever spent the time to just get to know me, right? It's like I only spent 45 minutes with her. It wasn't some crazy life coaching breakthrough moment. Like just caring about people makes a big difference. And if they feel that you care, not even as a strategy, it's just good. It's like just good to care about people. And that always comes back, whether they stay with you or they end up leaving the company and they say good things about you or refer something to you, like over a long enough timeline, it always comes back to help you.
Okay. One last thing, why the paper airplane?
So for me, the logo's a paper airplane, and on the videos, the airplane is taking off, and then you hear the boom of a sonic boom. And for me, it's a paper airplane because that represents entrepreneurship. When you're starting an idea, you have no money. It's not like you're some fancy jet plane that you've got $8 million. Jet planes are more like $100 million or something for a plane. You don't have that kind of money. It's a paper airplane that you made yourself. But you're flying and you're trying to get somewhere. You're trying to change and you don't want to end up in the same spot that you started. You're trying to go somewhere and reach new heights. That's entrepreneurship. But the winds are fighting us and your paper is getting torn and you shouldn't make it there. But that's the ambition. And on my YouTube videos, when we made the plane sound, it sounded like a crop duster, like small airplane. I said, no. I want it to sound like a jet that then breaks the sound barrier because that's impossible. Like a paper airplane would never break the sound barrier, but that's what entrepreneurs do. And so that's why it's a paper airplane.
Awesome. Wow. Great. Thank you. I know we're pretty much out of time. Just thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. I truly do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
You.
Great job.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Cheers.
Take care.